State lawmakers have filed bills to define all drag shows as sexually oriented businesses. This bill would limit performances in nightclubs, bars, restaurants, and other businesses. Republicans say they want the restrictions to protect children from these shows, but Democrats believe the bill targets the LGBTQ community. Here's what Charles Adams and Quanell X think about it.
A group of North Texas state representatives have filed a bill here in Texas to restrict drag shows from being performed anywhere other than sexually oriented businesses. We have all seen videos of small children stuffing dollar bills in drag queens' thongs and in outfits, and I find that outrageous. But we also know that our Republican Party loves to demonize the LGBT community, and this seems to me an effort to step in place of the parent as opposed to actually imposing some morality. I'm not in favor of theocracy. I'm not in favor of sexualizing children, but I'm also not in favor of our government telling us how to parent our children. I think this is just another effort by the Republican Party to demonize people in the LGBT community, and I also think it infringes the First Amendment. But I'd love your thoughts, Quanell.
Well, Charles, you know, there have been many drag queen shows going on in America for decades now. I've watched heavy metal rock bands, and sometimes if I looked at Ozzy Osbourne and Def Leppard and some of those guys, I did not know if I was looking at a blonde-haired white woman or a man on stage. I looked at Michael Jackson, looked at Prince and Liberace and Little Richard, and trust me, it looked like some of them brothers was absolutely in drag. My concern is that this should be a parental decision. Let parents make that decision and don't take it out of the parents' right to choose what they want their children to be a part of. Now, what I do have a problem with, and I think is abuse of the mind of our children, is when you let children take dollar bills and stick it in the girdles or stick it in the skirts or just throw the money on stage of drag queens. I think that those who are drag queens should have more responsible consciousness of mind to know that children should not be doing that at an adult show.
Well, what do you think about the Republican outrage about the drag queen story hour, where someone dressed up as a man dressed up as a woman to read stories at the library? Now, we had a weird issue here where it was actually a child predator happened to be one of the participants, and I, of course, have a huge issue with that. And I have this huge issue with anyone, whether it's a church attacking children. We had the Southern Baptist, we had horrible stories about their cover-up, the Catholic Church and their cover-up of the pedophilic attack on children. But whether it's drag queens or priests or whoever it is,
but I
want to
disagree
protect
with drag
children,
queen reading hour.
But I don't think it's really, so why?
I disagree.
Okay.
Because if you got drag queen reading hour, well then what happens when you have polygamous reading hour? What happened when a man who likes to have more than one wife or a woman who wants to have more than one husband, they want their specific hour? But the problem is, the issue is this. We must be very careful. It's a thin line, because if we give privilege to one, others will want it also.
But
so I don't think we should have that.
There's a thin line. There's a difference between doing a strip show and having a kid put dollars in your G-string. That's horrible.
Right.
And just reading a story in a costume.
You can watch much more of Faceoff streaming Thursday nights at 7. Just go to fox26houston.com.